What's up, Melanated family? This is your boy Harrison, man, from Melanated Fathers TV, bringing you a brand new episode like we like to do every weekend. I'm excited, like I always am. I have another special guest in the building, a brother of mine who I've been trying to bring on the show for a while. Informative, knowledgeable, pushing the right issues. You know what I mean? We got a lot of stuff going on in Black society. It always seems like we got a lot of stuff going on in Black society, but it's always about what's your take on it. Like, how do you want to be a part of the change? Like, are you going to help the change? Are you going to be a negative attribute to the change? And this brother is helping the change, and I appreciate that. So we're going to talk to my brother Chris Lodgson here in a minute. So give me one moment, like we like to do here on the Melanated Convo podcast. If you're listening to this on one of the digital platforms, Overcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of these places, please hit the like button. Please share the video. Please leave a review if you're watching it on one of the digital platforms. If you're watching it on one of the video platforms, Melanated Fathers TV on YouTube, Melanated Fathers TV on Facebook, please do me a favor and like the video, share the video. All of these helps the algorithms in a positive manner. Like I told someone, my interview I was doing last week, I'm almost at like 60,000 views. Like, for some people, that's nothing. I'm aware of the climate. I know how popular some people are, and I appreciate all of that. But shit, that's a lot for me. You know what I mean? Knowing what I'm talking about, knowing the angle I'm taking, because I could to like, for lack of a better term, I can niggerize it a little bit and bring everybody in. But I have to be true to who I am. If we're gonna be on these platforms, if we're gonna be honest, if we're gonna have honest conversations, the first place we have to start is being true to who we are. So everything I talk about, everything I stand for, is how I live my life on a day-to-day basis. So I can't veer from that to get you to like me. You know what I mean? I ain't doing that shit. So thank you for tuning into another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. I appreciate it. If you're familiar with the show, you know the first thing we do is something called Black Business Spotlight here, right? It hints one of the reasons why I got my brother on, right? Because he is aware of how important Black businesses are. We talk a lot about police brutality, gentrification, everything that happens to us from the structural racism that we face in America. But we have a say-so. If we create little small Black Wall Streets all around the country, people will try to thwart our movements like they have in the past, but we got to try. We have to look at what we've done wrong in the past to do things differently now. You know what I mean? So all these things is extremely necessary. So first, Black business. I talked about my sister last week, and I'm gonna talk about her again. Hold on. Oh, that's Chris's page. Hold on one second. I'm gonna talk about all things literacy. All things literacy. Oh, I have it up already. All Things Literacy is a bookstore in the African marketplace. Now, not just having books. Dana has books. She has accessories, essential oils, bath and body items that you may need. But the most impressive thing about her establishment is that she has books. So hold on one second here. Let me share. Okay, so I'm sharing that. Hold on one moment.
Hey, Harrison, can I say one thing too
while
you're pulling it up? One, thanks for the invitation. I'm just going to jump right in and talk about all things literacy, because that is one of the gems, I would say, of Black business books and bookstores and literacy and reading. Not just a bookstore, you know, a couple of great programs around literacy for Black boys and Black girls come out of that bookstore. We got All Around the Way Girls book club. We got the Boys in the Hood book club as well. And that is those are just two programs that come out of that amazing gym, like I said, which is All Things Literacy, 2251 Flown Road. It's where the first and third Saturday African Marketplace goes down. Also, I think the second Saturday African Marketplace goes down also. But there are probably about 20, 25 Black-owned businesses that live in that building, that 2251 Flown Road building, every single day. So make sure you go in and check out all of those businesses, not the least of which is All Things Literacy. So I just wanted to say that.
Yes, I see. That's why I said, please come on and say what you want to say, because that's needed, brother. Because you're familiar with this territory. You know what I mean? You're acutely familiar with these businesses, and when I think about the Black marketplace, Chris, I'm just at awe of us creating. Literally our own Black Wall Street. Now, of course, over time, I think it'll improve in more businesses will join. But I think it's just important for everybody in Sacramento to realize what we have there and just how
Yeah.
important it is. And I've been several times for several different events just to shop with my family, all
Right
different
on.
type of things. But the bottom line is, we need to care, man. If you're unhappy with how we're treated, I know a lot of you like to post on social media about crimes that happen in our community and police brutality and teachers touching kids. And I'm with you. I do all of these things too. But
Right.
how do you spend your money? Like, that's a part of revolution as well. Like I always tell people, being an extraordinary father and being someone who participates with Black businesses, these are both revolutionary acts. Whether you want to believe it or not, if you don't want to march, if you don't want to go down there and put your feet to the ground, okay, that's one way to protest what's been happening. Another way is just shop with Black businesses. After you go to the African marketplace, tell everybody about it. Like, I speak about them at nauseum because I'm so damn impressed. And I've talked to people from other cities, and some people in other cities don't have this, right? So
Right.
if you're a Black business owner who has a Black business that you want to take to the next level, rent you a booth at the Black marketplace. Like, it's thousands of people there every first and third Saturday. Every first and third Saturday. So this is just a great springboard for our community. So all things literacy, all things literacy. One thing I was gonna say here about my sister Dana, hold on one moment. Like Chris was speaking on, she has another program called Escape Velocity Foundation, and this is where she has the Boys in the Hood book club, Girls Around the Way book club, I think it is. And I'm just a strong advocate of reading as of maybe, and this is like 10, 12 years in. I wasn't a kid loving books. I'm not gonna lie and say I was, but as I became an adult, as I had a horrible stuttering problem, reading helped me through these things. Reading helped me understand who I am as a person. Reading helped me be more articulated. Reading helped me be more articulate. Reading helped me just in several ways. So all of our youth should be reading. If we want to keep it real, we have a lot of men and women in the prison system in our country, Black men and women in particular, who are at like third and fourth grade reading levels. Like, they're tying in the not being able to read with your ability or willingness to do crimes, right? Because you can't communicate the correct way. So you're using violence and anger to get your point across because you don't have the ability to articulate yourself.
Hey, can I say two things on that real quick? Just to not that you need anything added to that, but just to put some more emphasis on this. So yeah, the reading is important, and the reading and writing, right? The literacy skills are really important, especially for Black boys and Black girls. And you said it really right. If you look at the Black folks who are in jail right now, if you look at whether or not they can read and write where they are supposed to be able to read and write, they're not there, right? And that's common among a lot of our Black folks who are in jail. And we know from jail and prison, and we know from real life that some of the companies that were into the private prisons and the for-profit prison stuff, we know that they would try to make decisions about their business planning and their business profits based on the reading and test scores and writing scores of Black kids in schools. We have evidence of that from whistleblowers who came out of some of those companies and said, hey, they're using your kids' test scores basically to predict how much money they're going to make or how many beds they need to make in 5 years. So you're absolutely right. The reading and writing is great and is important. Shout out to the Escape Velocity Foundation because they do great work.
They do. And some of these, I'm so in awe of you and Dana and Barry and Jermaine, everybody I come in contact with, because I know how much of a thankless job this is at times. Now that I'm in a space where I'm giving my time and my money and everything I know, everything in me to other people, not for money. Of course, you want to make things profitable, but this is just how I feel about my people. Sometimes it's like, damn, do they care? I mean, but if you love what you're doing and you believe in it, you got to just keep rolling it. If I get one person each day, I'm all right. You know what I mean? So what Dana is doing, taking her time and her effort, her money to put on a program to help our babies read, we need to applaud that. Everybody needs to get behind that. When When me and you are done here, I'm gonna talk to my son about reading and some stuff he needs to do. The people that I know, I'm gonna say, hey, before going to Barnes and Nobles, go over there to Our Literacy. If you look at some of the pictures I posted, they got regular books. They got some of the best books that have been written by people in our culture. So go to All Things Literacy today. Go to the website. Go to Escape Velocity, the Resource Foundation. Let me pull that up real quick, just so y'all can get a bar of how that looks, about her vision and all the programs. Like my brother Jermaine or my brother Chris was saying, the book, the Boys in the Hood, the Boys in the Hood book club, Around the Way Girls book club. There's a lot of things dealing with mental health and things of these nature, things of that nature. So these are things that we need to care about. The community needs to care about. I'm just happy I have people in my community who are representing us in such a good light, and I'm gonna continue to support them. You know what I mean? So, last business. This is one I just seen on your just seen you post a couple weeks ago. Play. I was like, oh. Look at that. This girl is doing it. All right. So the next one here is Chandler and Company. I know a brother who bought one of these hats, and you posted an advertisement. And one of the reasons why it caught my eye, because the brother I know was in the advertisement wearing the hat. I was like, look at Demonte. Go ahead, man. Hey, and the hat looked good on his head, man. So this is Chandler and Company, affordable accessories without compromising quality. They have fedoras, which I was telling the brother last week, because I do all of my business advertisements 2 weeks in a row. I was telling the brother I had on last week, Chris, I haven't quite graduated to the fedora stage in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I see brothers wearing like kind of a formal gear. I see brothers wearing like, damn, that's sharp. But I don't know if I got the head for it or if I'm nervous. You know what I mean? Take a little bit of confidence to put that thing on.
Yeah, I'm not there yet either, man. I was just saying, I gotta graduate, gotta level up to that level too. But yeah, that's fly. Like those hats are fly, bro. And yeah, Chandler Company. Another great business, somewhat new to the area, if I'm not mistaken, and just like in the last 6 months, 12 months, we've seen a lot of new businesses show up and pop up and start to do business here. Chandler Company is one of them, and their products are, I think, available online. I think they're also available in a couple of different spaces here in Sacramento. I think they're available at Fades and 20th, which is a Black-owned barbershop. Here in Sacramento. I think they're also available at the new Black-owned cigar lounge, actually in Old Sac, right? I think it's called Herf Cigar Lounge. If I'm saying that wrong, the people from their marketing people will come get me. But yeah, so yeah, Chandler and Company, and this is just another example of another great business.
Yes, and they have the hats, of course. But like I said last week, you could get some gear like the denim dresses for women, denim shirts for men. The clothes, it's really nice as well. He has some joggers for men, so he's diversifying a little bit. It's not just hats. So clothing for men, the fedoras for men. Really important, man. We spend a lot of money with people outside of our community on clothes, on accessories, on all of these things. I'm all about us taking baby steps, right? Let's say you don't want to go out and say, I'm never going to spend money on clothes with people outside of my community. I don't think that's quite realistic, but you can start moving in that direction, right? You go shopping, you're going to spend $200, $300, make $100 of that. Be with somebody who look like you. And like I always say, Chris, I want people to shop with our businesses, but I don't want them to cheat themselves. So I want you to shop with qualified businesses. I try to find businesses that I know have been around for a minute, that I know are going to treat you correctly. You know what I mean? You work really hard for your money. You don't want to just give anybody your money, because sometimes we have this thing in our community where sometimes Black people expect you to support them just because you're Black. I like to say you being Black is the tiebreaker. You are offering me something the same way someone else can. The quality is just like the Asian store, just like the Arabs. Let's keep it real. Just like the Arabs in our neighborhood who's selling us clothes. You provide me the same quality, but the tiebreaker,
even better sometimes.
Even better sometimes. But you look like me, so I gotta consider you. I'm not gonna discount you just because I haven't heard of the company. Because if Fendi or Gucci created some of these same things we see, you're gonna cop it without question, right? So it's about us as the adults in our community. Start conditioning our kids to, we're gonna go to the African marketplace. You're gonna buy some little beads and put them around. You're gonna be happy that you Black. Like you ain't got to go all the way militant like we see at times, but you should be happy and be able to represent your community. You know what I mean?
Well, black folks. I mean, we make everything. We make everything everybody else makes, and we make it in the same way, and I think even better most of the time, to be honest with you. But so let's take an example. One place that I like to point to now is the pop-up shop at Florin Mall, which is in Art and Fair Mall. Excuse me. So the pop-up shop at Art and Fair Mall, right, which is a black-owned business, right, that features some 60 or so products from other black-owned businesses in the store itself, right? That is the brainchild and brain trust of Aisha Ransom White, who we all know here and love here, right here in Sacramento, who started the pop-up shop. That pop-up shop, as you know, started in where we were just talking about, 2251 Florin Road, right, where All Things Literacy is. And obviously the folks at Art Mall found it and thought that it was something that they wanted to bring into the actual mall, and now it's in the mall in San Francisco now too, right? And then there's another one popping up too, right, close there. So there's two. So there's probably 3 or 4 right now, right? So if you go into that store, you'll find it is probably if you ask me, it's the best retail outlet in the mall. So as you were saying, we do just the same thing as everybody else does, and it's important to support our businesses, as you say. You call it the tiebreaker. I like that. I like the way you think about it. I think that's a good way to think about it. I think black businesses have to have the support of black folks, because to be honest with you, black folks right now are black folks' best customers, right? Most of the black businesses that are doing well have black folks as their customers, and actually black folks hire black folks more than non-black folks do also. Now the issue is that there are usually less black customers, and there are usually less black businesses, right? There are usually less black employees, but black folks do support each other, and we do have a lot of great, like I said, sometimes, a lot of times, maybe most of the times, better stuff than others. I think I would put our businesses and the creative genius of our businesses here in Sacramento up against any other businesses that are not black owned. Bar for bar, right? Now, a lot of those businesses have a lot of other things going for them, like generations of resources to pour into them, and the freedom to make mistakes and fail and start over again, right? Which we don't talk a lot about, right? But just like Chandler Company, and just like All Things Literacy, right? We do have a lot of great products.
Definitely. All right, so done with the 2 black businesses for the day. Real quick, if you're watching the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, share. Me and my brother about to have a fire conversation. So Chris Lodgson. All right, first question for you, brother, because I know of you doing great work here in Sacramento, but if everybody can listen, you have an East Coast accent, so I want to ask you. You grew up where? In New York?
Yep. Born and raised Manhattan and Brooklyn. I was born in Manhattan, raised in Manhattan and Brooklyn. Been out here in California for about 6 years now. I think last July. So last month made 6 years. I came out here in 2015, and I'll just jump into it, man. I came out here. My former fiance is somebody who is from Sacramento. And so we had a long distance relationship going for a long time. And, at a certain point I made the jump, and came out here to Sacramento. So that's how I got out here. Now, I was also doing some work in New York that required me to be back and forth on the West Coast. So I was coming back and forth on the West Coast for events, but yeah, I mean, that's how I got out here. Before I came here, I was doing a bunch of nonprofit work. I was doing a bunch of work in business, but also doing work to support black folks back in New York.
Oh, so the same work you was doing now, you didn't just come to Sacramento and start doing it. You was doing that in New York.
No, man. No, I've been active. I've been doing. So I'm 37, man. I've been pretty active probably since I was it's going about 15, 20 years now. So since I was in my teens, I've been doing some kind of work. But right before I got out here, I was doing nonprofit work with a big nonprofit in New York that has some stuff going on in other parts of the country that was focused on homelessness and running homeless shelters in New York City and in Brooklyn and running domestic violence programs in and out of New York City and running support programs to help get people especially. So this is specifically in terms of my work, specifically in Harlem, so the east side of Harlem, and then also in Brooklyn and east what we call East New York, Brooklyn. So it's a part of Brooklyn we call East New York. And so most of my work there was focused around homelessness and also youth work and supportive services in those two parts of the city. And I also did a lot of online work though at the time too. So in addition to like helping people, find jobs and write resumes and practice interviewing, where I get to pretend to be the job guy, right, and find jobs and get people Metro cards and money to get to the job and all that good stuff, right? But I would also be doing a lot of online stuff, trying to use the organization's social media to help do the job. And so I started managing some of their social media platforms way back, and I got kind of good at it, and we got started, and it actually started to make some things happen. And so I gained a lot of those skills in managing social media there. And then when I got out here, I was able to apply those skills to a different set of problems.
Okay. Well, one thing real quick that I wanted to talk about, because the basis of my platform was started out of me being a father of five, understanding the importance of the family structure, understanding I did some things wrong, and learning about history. So that kind of was my springboard into the position I'm in now. So talk to me briefly about your childhood, bro. Like, were you raised with your mom and your dad?
Oh man, so no, actually, to be honest with you, man, I met my dad one time. And I was raised with my mother. I'm the oldest of five, so you know what that goes into, and so single mom. And now my mom's, and my brother's pops and my sister's pops and all of that. They were in and out, but they were in and out like a lot of our parents was back in the 80s. Which is they was in and out of jail, they was in and out of substance abuse, and they was in and out of the house, right? And so that was a lot of my, my upbringing, in terms of my childhood. But I got to give my mom's all of the love and credit and love that she deserves, and also I got to give my uncles and my aunts and the brothers outside and my cousins, and really the community itself for actually helping to guide me and parent me, and some teachers. I had some really strong Black male teachers in 10th grade and 11th grade, and that I actually don't talk a lot about, but that was such a I think Les Brown calls it a disruption for me, because I was going through what a lot of young dudes go through at time. It was a point where you're going to pick which way you want to spend the next few years of your life, right? And so no, I had some, and I had never had a Black male teacher at all, like never. And so then to have the kind of strong brothers that we had. So this is in my Brooklyn high school. So we had some strong Black brothers. I'm gonna give a shout out to Mr. Lucas. I'm just gonna shout them out because they were so strong, and like it showed me like, oh shit, like that's something, like it's almost something that like you never see in that context. We see a lot of strong brothers. We know like a lot of strong brothers, especially like in our families. Like I have very strong uncles, brothers outside the street, strong. But to see a brother strong, like in like education, and like tough in education, you know what I'm saying? And respected, like not no cornball in education, right? And like also had then that made him cool socially too, So that was something like so yeah. So that those are also a part of the people that helped guide me and a part of the community really.
Great. So that's interesting. So you basically saying, because I was going to ask a few questions about your pops and all that, but it seems like,
Yeah.
and everybody in our community should be aware of this. If there are single mothers around, of course, we would all prefer if the father was there helping out. But if you're a man, you're an able-bodied man doing whatever job you do in this country, you can actually help out our community a lot just by
Oh yeah.
noticing young black men who may not have guidance. You will be surprised how
Oh yeah.
much they'll take to you. You'll be surprised how much you can actually help out. So it seems like your childhood speaks to the men around you saying, no, 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 come here. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
oh
everybody
yeah.
don't
I
have
had
that.
so much of that. And I want to give credit where credit is due. You know, to brothers in the community, brothers in the schools, right? And yeah, brothers listening right now, like if you are whatever you can provide to a young brother in terms of like leadership and like showing what leadership means and like act like doing it and being what a confident black man is in whatever context it is that you are doing whatever you're doing. So whatever it so if it's your personal, you know, life, right? If it's your professional life, right? If you're a business owner, for example, right? You know, we talking about business and black business, and that's a lot of the work I do as a black business owner myself, and then also as the creator site Black Biz, like the like show what a confident, strong, real man is in your work life and show that to the younger brothers coming up because a lot of times we're really hungry for that right at that age, especially I mean you like 13, 14, 15, right? That's an age where you be hungry for a man's guidance and will and could take to it if it's brought to you in the right way,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, absolutely.
And and I also have to say, because I come from an urban community where there's a lot of different things going on. There's drug dealing. There's people are poor, so they're figuring out ways to get money. Sometimes people speak a lot about the pariahs in our community, i.e., the black man who will give you a sack to sell. But we also need to acknowledge the black man who gonna tell you stop, who gonna see your potential and say, nah, you coming with me or do this that way. That happens too. It's not all
Oh
this
yeah.
free for all where all the adults in the black community, all the men are out to be piranhas and treat you a particular way. Some of these brothers just down on they luck themselves, but they still have knowledge to provide you. They still can give you some
Of
information
course.
about a direction you may need to go in. You know what I mean?
Of course. I was gonna say some of the people you just describe are the same person, right? They're the
Ain't
same
that the
exact
truth?
person,
Ain't
right?
that the truth?
And some of the time, and guess what? When they tell you it, you listen,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right? You not right. It's different when they say go inside, go in the house right now, because there's gonna be some stuff out here that we don't want you a part of. Or when they and to be honest with you, I was just listening to somebody talk about this stuff too. We got to be more, I think, thoughtful about like how complex our community is, because you just said the brother might give you a sack to sell. Uh, Another way to say that is he just gave you a job. Okay, right
Very true.
now, when I come to tell you to stop selling the stuff, can I give you a job? Probably not. I mean, I can, right? But can I? But can we give you all enough jobs so that you can stop that stuff? And you have to think about that too. It's not so simple, right? And you got to think about why are we out there? So I was a part of some of that too. Why are we out there doing some of that stuff? Why are we out there joining these street organizations, right? What are we missing, and what are those of us who can do something about doing, right? And that's what you were just saying earlier to start the broadcast. You were talking about what folks can do, right? And they can support black business. You can actually do something. Well, there's more you can do too, right? And this is something that I think we got to think a little bit more complex about.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes because I know a lot of men who people outside of the community viewed them as the worst individuals possible. But I never seen that from him. When I seen him, he was smiling. He gave me ice cream. He gave me good information. He looked good. He smelled good. And then I would hear about something that happened. And as a kid, I'm thinking, that's the same person. See, so that's important that you say that. He could be the same guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've had some of the I've had people who you might people who we're talking about who are to be honest with you, some of these are family members too. Okay, right? These are some of these are people in our family. Okay, some of these are our parents too. Okay, right? It's all right. And this is why I say we got to think more complex about how our community like actually goes, like it actually is in like real life. But I've had some people tell me you can be anything you want to be in this world. Okay, look me dead in my eye. Okay, say that to me when I probably heard no man say that before, right? Right. Some and this person might be somebody who the police are looking for. Okay, right. So we gotta be again just more thinking about how complex it is and build that complexity into the solutions and also the words we choose too.
That makes sense. Definitely, definitely. All right. So something else I want to get to real quick because you
Yeah.
mentioned at 15 you were doing things to help out your community, like you were being a helper. Like what ignited that inside of you to say, of course I can just go to college and get a job and raise my family, and that's the route a lot of our brothers take, and I don't have a problem with that. But what made you say, you know what, I want to lend my time and what I have inside of me to actually help people in my community?
Oh man, that's how I think about that actually. One is so I think I gotta go back to the people who were around me when I was coming up, like even before that young time. So I gotta give credit to my mom. I gotta give credit to my uncles, my aunts, to the people in the neighborhood and in the places where I was living in. I gotta give. I was kind of lucky too in many ways because I was raised around people and in places even before that 15-year-old, 16-year-old, time where you stood up for yourself against one any so like this was told to me in the beginning. Somebody hit you, you hit them back, and if you could, you hit them first. Okay, right. And when you hit them, you try to knock them out so they don't hit you again. Right. I was also told that you defend people who need defending. Okay. So those two things were in me as just like coming up, like right. So like, and as a very young child, right, and also seeing family members, people in my community have to actually have like fights a lot with the police a lot. Actually, like when I grew up in New York, it was like late '80s, early like '90s. So it's the NYPD is like going, just sort of, it's the like Rudy Giuliani era, it's like, so I like a few different like early, like just being a spectator watching like, family members and people in the streets have to do battle with the police. So like those things were very like early, in my memory too. Plus again, just this hearing and knowing and listening in on conversations when you ain't supposed to be listening in as a little kid when grown folks is talking, but grown folks are talking real loud. Okay, all right, and you know how we do, and they talking about some real stuff that's going on in the community, right? Whether it's between black folks or between black folks and white folks. Also, I was really lucky. I was raised around black folks who listen to the radio a lot, and like listen to talk radio and black talk radio, which is why I love what you're doing because I see this as in like the black talk radio tradition. I spend a lot of time, hearing and listening to black folks in New York City radio stations talk about political stuff. And in New York, I every Sunday for some reason I'm just remember this now. Every Sunday there was a few hours like on like one of the R&B soul stations. Every Sunday evening, a few hours of just black folks talking political stuff. and they had us tuned in every single Sunday. So I just remember like this is a part of my upbringing, and then as I start to be a teenager and go out into the world, and then I get stopped and frisked myself dozens of times, right, and get my rights trampled on dozens of times, just as like a 13 and 14-year-old, right? It's just almost like you are. There's always something to fight for. There's right. It's not like it's not like we're running out of stuff to get involved in, right? So and then also I want to give some credit to the school I went to too, because some of the schools I went to, and shout out to the high school I went to, it was a special high school. It was called Science Skills Center High School. It was in downtown Brooklyn. Started by a brother named Michael Bell. I think he started the school like in his like basement or something. Okay, right. Him and some other black folks built it up so that it became an official city school. He got so popular for that, the superintendent came and plucked him out of our school as principal and tried to recreate the model in other places. But I was there when he was still working, and so I was very lucky, and so the politics was a part of our school. Like we had black teachers, mostly black teachers, and this is my high school. This is when I had my first black teacher, and the politics and what was going on in the city and the community was all a part of the school. So there was no difference. And then we had after school programs and stuff that were like push us into that stuff too. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot. There was a lot of things that like worked in my favor.
Wow, that's interesting because my younger son, who I've had the pleasure of pretty much raising his whole life, me and his mom care about black issues. So because of this, we listen to hip hop and stuff. But someone talking about our struggles is always someone. My car, in the house, and I noticed because of this. He was almost forced to create a perspective about it because he's hearing it so much. Then he see the news and it's like, okay, we're not lying. You see what I'm saying? So damn, that's interesting, brother. For all my parents out there, all my black parents, if you want to raise like young revolutionaries, young people who just care about the community, like they always said, it starts in the home, man, regardless of
it does.
Kind of home, right? If there's a little bit of dysfunction, not a lot of money, then out there, whatever you want to put in there, but whatever is constant, the kids will pick up on. Whether that's church, right? That's people who went to church every Sunday, now they can sing, they in the choir. I think it's the same thing with our struggles and our people. And I know a couple other brothers like you who had the pleasure of being around a lot of black teachers. Brother, I can't even tell you how that feels to have a black man, because you mentioned something earlier that was key. That's still kind of cool, right? He ain't no cornball. So he like, okay, damn, this is like, okay, this is my brother. But he teach. You just mess your head up a little bit. Like, wait, he in this space? Because we used to see teachers who look a certain way, who act a certain way. So that's interesting that you were in an environment that promoted black thought.
Yeah. That was, again, I got pretty lucky, and it was important to see, and we know this from the research, right? We know this, that black, the suspension rates drop, the dropout rates drop for black boys in particular when they have a black male teacher, right? That they're more likely to keep going in school when they have a black male teacher. I mean, it's just, I'm one example of what that research does. But you also mentioned one thing that I didn't mention, actually. You mentioned hip hop. Okay? So, and I did want to say this too. A lot of the rap and hip hop that I came up around and with, like, had political messages in them. And I'm not talking just about the like specifically, exclusively, like what you might call the conscious rap of the 90s, right? Which, by the way, I loved, right, and still love, and I love that we get to listen to a lot of that stuff now, right? But like even like some of the first political words I heard was from like Nas, right, or like Jay-Z, or like Wu-Tang, or Pac, right, or Big, like some like and even if they weren't political words or like activist words or whatever you want to call it, they were like stuff that described stuff that was wrong in the community and actually pointed the folk at like some of the positions of power, right? And we or at least me, right? Like we listened to a lot of hip hop when we came up, and we could recite songs right now, word for word. Okay, we haven't heard in years, right? But what if you put on something right now off that first Big album, or if you put on something right now off that first Nas album, all right, and you start the song and cut the words, I could probably hit you with every single bar of it without like hearing it in like years, and or close to it. And inside of those words is stuff about like the political stuff, right? Like when Nas started off, ill what is it? Ill oh no, it was the message with the slave rebellion, right? And the message of the slave and it's Nas's voice, and he's like, nah, I ain't taking this no more. And then they start beating up the slave master, then they start starting the revolution, right? And then it jumps into, the message, which is a fire track, right? And talks about a lot of stuff, right? So like a lot of the hip hop too was a part of like where my mind was at too, also doing some of this early work.
You know what? I'm gonna just before I ask you the next question, I'm gonna just comment on that, because even to today, being 41 years old, I'm an avid hip hop fan. Now the younger generation, and I want to be clear, I respect a young black man who can make money for his family by entertaining. So he don't got to do that shit on the street. He don't got to do nothing negative. This way of life is providing for his family. But I did get to a crossroads where I didn't understand it as much. Now, my son, younger people around me, they love it. And I had to realize, okay, there's a generational gap here. But I still, most of the artists I listen to are like over 33, right? It's some younger guys, but I love the art form so much, because even the guys, you made a good point, even the guys who aren't political, like they're not conscious rappers at all, they still speak to the ills of the neighborhood if you listen. If you're just listening for the bullshit, then that's what you'll find. But most of them are speaking about what they had to go through being a young black person without a lot of money and resources. Now, how they convey it, you can judge that. But a lot of time, as for even the origination of hip hop, it's coming from the same place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I think you're right about, and I won't take too long on this part, but I think about the there, and I think this is sort of a natural thing too. There is a generational thing, right? And that I think is just a common thing, because that's a part. I mean, that actually plays itself out in a lot of different ways. I actually think there's a generational thing going on, like even in the reparation space, which is, I know we'll talk about that, but like there's a generational thing in terms of like the reparations work and fighting that's going on right now with people who are fighting for actual reparations. Like there's a lot of this fight and a lot of this work was being done by folks who are, not just boomers, but even above the boomers, like the silent generation, like who are those of them who are still, like in the 70s, 80s folks, right? And there's a new younger crop of folks coming up in the Gen X and millennial and then the Gen Z crop. And so I think the generational thing plays out itself in black stuff, like in different ways, but it's there, and it's something that I think we'll get through. There is some risk though, right? There's always risk, because we had this in our generations too, right? Like, rap and hip hop is a way to talk to a lot of black people. So it's like, I say this a lot, like white supremacy is like total. So like there's nothing that escapes it, right? So every single thing, if it's not like actively working against the thing, and even a lot of that stuff is still like it's still fit and still can make it worse. So, and we know rap and hip hop, that's been, I mean, that's again a way to talk to a lot of black people. That is a lot of risk. So we gatekeep our culture, right? And like, like that's our job, and we're going to continue to do that. And we want the younger folks who are coming up, when they get up here, to actually do that too, to make sure that, this is our stuff. This is our art form. Like, yeah, we lease it out, and we don't control it as much as we want, but this is something that we create.
Definitely. I wholeheartedly feel the same way, because I'm not gonna lie, for a couple years, I hated Every hip hop, because I always believed in falling in love with the artist. So I would hear the song, then I would go and do research about you. I want to see the pictures, see all the videos. I was fully engulfed, right? And I got to a point where some of these young dudes, I was like, damn, I like this dude. I just don't like his music.
But you know what's one thing too? Like we have like one thing about like I think what we are all getting used to more now, so many much more options, right? Like there's
Mm-hmm.
music being produced by thousands of people every single day. We can't possibly hear all of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, like if you want to just hear stuff you like only, or like messages you like only, you
You
actually
can.
can.
Yeah.
If you have access to the technology and the tools, right? And that's I'm not taking that taking that for granted. But if you do have access to those technology and tools, and you know like how to look for, or how to ask for what you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can you do have a lot of options.
You do. And it's getting to the point where they're gonna have to start separating it like they do. Cause okay, so I was listening to 101.1 and I felt old because they was like your old school your old school hip hop. They put Ja Rule on. I was like, wait a minute. I
What
was
up,
like, wait a minute. Am I that old? This was my jam, but kinda, yeah.
yeah.
That's 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It was before the 2000s. It's
Yeah.
kind of like in the last century.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And our parents was listening to the music from the 70s, in the
Right.
90s and the 80s. That's old to them. We just need to realize because I think it's in the last thing about hip hop that will move on. This whole it's a young man's game thing that kind of dilutes it just a little bit.
Yeah. I don't think it is a young man's game. I don't think it is. I think actually like not rap, not hip hop. I don't think it is. I think you actually get better
You
as you
do.
get older.
Your
If you
mind
can
gets
get
better.
through your youth, you get better because like I mean, I can write and say way more great stuff in my
Mhm.
30s than I did in my 20s. And I got a lot more to talk about. And
Yeah.
and like the content of my stuff is better. And I've been places, traveled, like I've lived life. What I could say, and like the people who I like started making music for when I was maybe in like my 20s. Like if I was somebody who made music, they're not in their 20s anymore. They in their 30s.
Yes.
Right? So no, I think it actually gets better, but or it can get better. And I think like the fact that we have these like more of these tools now too helps us see that like some of the best, like for example, some of the stuff that I like the best is not from some of the younger folks. And to be honest, some of the stuff that the younger folks are doing are produced by
Mm-hmm.
folks that are not so young.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yep, definitely. All right. So I want to get in this for a minute. I wanted your take on this because when it comes to like political awareness in general, many people say um, it's better to fight on a local level for politics, like voting for the president, Senate seats, all these things don't mean as much as if you getting up and seeing who's being elected in your city. What's like your overall take on that?
Generally, that's not true. Just to be direct about it, because you are under attack right now as a black person from all of those places. You're under attack right now from the stuff that's done against you at the city level, at the school board level, at the county level, at the state assembly level, at the state senate level, at the U.S. Senate level, at the level of the White House and the executive branch of the government, in the courts, uh, in business,
Mm-hmm.
okay, in the media, right, which are also in many ways also a parts of the government, right? So you are under attack in many different ways. Now, where you can put your energy, like and where you want to put your energy, that's up to you, right?
Mm.
But is one better than the other? Some will have more results sooner for different things than later for other things. It's really up to you how important you think stuff is and how you prioritize what's most important to you. Like, do you care more about the fact that, do you care about how much money the city of Sacramento got for direct cash rental assistance to folks to give out to people, but didn't spend yet, like didn't get the money out yet, right? So like, every city probably in America almost, or most of them got money to bless. Most of them got money to actually like give people direct money to help them pay their rent. But a lot of those cities haven't spent the money. They got it, they have it, but they haven't given it to people yet. billions of dollars. And so do you care more about something like that, which might mean that you have to go like locally to your city council and fight for it, and to your city council person? Or do you care about the fact that, we don't build enough housing, so you have to do something at the county level because that they control the building code, right? Or at the state level because there's not enough money into the affordable housing pot, and we want to break into the state rainy day fund, right, which is billions of dollars, and we want to use that for affordable housing, right? You have to pick where you want to put your efforts and what you think is most important. But generally, you're under attack, in every single way. So pick a fight and fight. Right?
All right. So something else. This just came to me because
yeah.
I know Black people. I've been this way at some point in time too, where you care about the news, like what's going on locally, just the news in general. You want to be informed, at least like in a general sense, everything that's going on. And we don't have all the answers, but in your opinion, where could like a novice Black person go for the information, right? Do they go to CNN.com? Do they look for someone locally who talks about it? Do they just go on Facebook and scroll and see the stories that make sense to them? Like, how should someone seek out the correct info? You know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks, man. So one, I'll say two things. I want to answer the question directly in the second part, but the first thing to say is, one, thanks for that question because it's an important question. So generally speaking, you want to have a wide variety of options and places you look. So whatever I'm going to say in the next part of my answer, keep in mind that you want to have as many options as possible, as many quality options as possible, and you have to figure out what you decide in quality, and that's another part of the question, right? But generally speaking, the answer is many different options, right? Many different good options to find political information. Now, the issue is there aren't many good options. Okay, I have to be honest with you. Outside of a lot of independent local stuff that's going on that people are doing and building, like a lot of what we see, those are great, but there aren't as many of those that are more widely known, right? At least not now, right? And that's a part of the problem, right? And that's a part of the challenge and the thing that we're actually building towards. And this is going to get to my second part of the answer. So I'm going to give you a couple of different places. One, you want to go to Black Civics, right? So Black Civics on Instagram, Twitter, or on Facebook, right? So this is I'm gonna start with some of the social media stuff, right? So Black Civics, right? And that's a program and that's a platform that I help run actually. And what we do there is give you Black civics and political information from a Black perspective. One of the parts of the problem that I was just describing is that we don't have a lot of options that are like Black, okay? Like a lot of those options are giving you white supremacy, right? And what you're hearing is a white supremacy kind of like thinking. And even if it's not like the person is a white supremacist, right? Like, I don't think the people on CNN are like white supremacists, right? Like the anchors, but like, or the people who, run the, shows, but they're giving you the white dominant perspective. And you can tell, you can tell something's only a problem if it's going to affect white folks mostly, right? Like homelessness and stuff has been a problem, and housing affordability has been a huge problem for Black folks, right? We've been struggling with that for a long time, right? But when more white people get affected by it, then the white media starts to talk about it, right? Because it's giving you the white media's perspective. Same goes into, for the stuff that they talk about with respect to business and the stuff that they don't talk about, right? And when they choose to talk about what they do talk about. Right. So these are reasons why I'm with other folks to actually build Black media, outlets like Black Civics. Now there are. So I'm going to give you the shameless plug here for Black Civics, and if you want to hear news specifically about reparations specifically and exclusively, there's a program and a platform that I help run called Reparations News Hub, which is you can get it on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter right now, but you can also get it online at naasd.org. So it's naasd.org, and you can see Reparations News Hub post there, and that is specifically just giving you news about reparations for Black folks. Now there's some other good places too, like people point to Black Agenda Report. People usually point to Black Information Network. People point to the Black News Channel, right? People, right, and so there are some really good places, right? And locally, right, I would support your local Black owned outlets too, right? I would support the Sacramento Observers of the world, right? And I would support the California Black Medias of the world, Black folks who are actually working in your community, also. So those are some places. Black Civics, Reparations News Hub, the few that I just mentioned, and also find your local Black papers and actually look to them too.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, because I know some Black folks who, when they quote what's going on in the world, I can almost tell where they got the information from. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn,
it's like they're just regurgitating,
I like
just repeating
the fact that you're taking the time,
yeah,
and you care, but the information is, I don't know if they're for you. You know what I mean?
That's not 100% their fault either. Actually, it's 99% not their fault, to be honest with you. Because one, there's this challenge that we said in the beginning. There's not a lot of Black options, and that's like, I take that responsibility like personally, right? Like, and like, you've taken it personally also, right? You've actually created a Black media outlet, right? You said, I'm not hearing nothing about melanated fathers, right? And I'm not hearing nothing about this from Black people's perspective. So you've actually like started to build media infrastructure. We need to multiply you by 1,000 and 10,000 over the next 2 to 4 years in order to be able to have some real political impact, and then network a lot of right. So like one thing that so when I say network here, I mean organize us, right? All right. So like that's also something that you see a lot of in the white dominated media. They are also networked. So not only do they have their own individual affiliates out there, hundreds and thousands of them, but they also are networked and connected with the other networks themselves, right? And so that networking, that organizing of the media is sort of like a level 2 up, like a level up. But you've taken it upon yourself to actually help build. That we have to, those of us, you and people like me and others, we have to really do our best over the next 2 to 4 years, if you ask me, to continue to build and grow strong enough, so that way. We are reaching more people and reaching more of our people. So you see and hear that less, the thing that you described less, right? That is less of that, or at least if it is that, you hear, well, I heard this here, but I heard this on Melanated Fathers, and I'm rocking with what I heard on Melanated Fathers because it's real.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so something that I want you to talk about, because I'm just proud of watching it and seeing how much time and effort you put into it. Talk to everybody about Sac Black Biz, like, because I'm like fully engulfed in what you do.
Thank you, man.
People who may not be, right? Talk about Sac Black Biz, the reason for it, the purpose of it, like how beneficial it's been.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, Sac Black Biz. First of all, thanks for the shout out. It's really the best and easiest way to find and connect with Black-owned businesses in Sacramento, and that's what we do. We wake up every day doing that. And we wake up every day helping and trying to help Black folks find and do business with Black-owned businesses, and Black businesses find people who want to do business with them. And we started Sac Black Biz in 2016. Yeah, 2016. So so I got here. So about 6 months after I got here, like in early 2016, and it really started as a group on Facebook. And really, it was just me, like I said earlier, applying or trying to apply some of those skills that I was using back in New York in my nonprofit work, by actually like creating a social media space to help bring information to, so that way people who were looking for that information didn't have to go look for it and find it in 1,000 different places. I would have already done that work, and you just have to go find where I am. And this thing was called Sac Black Biz Community. And it was Sacramento Black Business Community, right? So it was just sort of short for that. And that was the first, space. And that started to grow and grow and grow. And ultimately, people were finding the group and finding businesses and then doing business with those businesses and then telling other people about it. And then people started to join the group. And then, the group became another group. So the group multiplied into two groups. So one group called Sack Black Biz Community, and then the other called Sack Black Biz. I think it was called Open Market then. I think it's called Sack Black Biz Marketplace right now. It's a similar type of group as the first group that we started. It's just it's different in the Facebook world because it's called a buy and sell. So it's basically a place where you can it's like more of like a pure like marketplace. It's more of like a e-commerce like application in just like on Facebook, right? You have a lot of like the e-commerce stuff. You can list items, you can set prices, you can upload products and stuff like that. In the Sack Black Biz community and commerce group, which is called Now, that's our main group now. We have about 10,000 members in that group right now. That group is a place where you get a lot of selling, buying, and selling, but it's not so much marketplace. It's more showing you and you're getting you familiar with and connected to the Black-owned businesses and having them engage with you in a way that's different in the kind of marketing that you're used to, right? That it's not just sell you, but it's it's look at some of the stuff that we're doing with our business. Look at what's going on in the Black business community. Look at what's going on with what's the story behind some of these businesses told from the business owners themselves, right? And that's a way to market to you, obviously, right? But it's done in a way that I think is more respectful. And the groups grew into a page also. So I added a page called Sack Black Biz on Facebook, and then we grew into Instagram as well. And now what we do is we help people find Black-owned businesses. So people are every day, looking for Black-owned businesses in the groups and on the pages and finding those businesses and doing business with them. And then we also do something that I think is special. We do something that I think I want Black folks to actually copy and like model and do in other places, because it's actually we've seen it work here. Like we've actually seen there are thousands of dollars of business that happen every month in this network over years. Okay? So there's actually money moving between Black folks on a daily basis. Okay, right, online, right. So it is a real place. But we do something that I think is different. We actually are actively advertising and promoting the businesses automatically. Right. So if you notice, we promote your podcast, but you didn't say, "Hey, Chris, can you promote our podcast?" Right. Right. We just, we see that you're promoting your podcast and we want to support it. So we promote your podcast. We just repost what you did. Right. But we do it on a regular basis. And so we actually know to come and look for something from your page on a regular basis. Right. Because we're coming back and we know we're coming back. Now, you may not know we're coming back. Right. But that's fine. You're getting free advertising and free marketing. Right. Without even knowing about it. OK, great. Right. Until it, happens. Right. I also just mentioned something. This is completely free, right, to business owners specifically, right? So the next question is, how are you making money? How does a business, man, if you charging nothing? Okay, just real quick, I'll just explain that real quick. So yes, it's free to business owners and it's free to entrepreneurs like yourself and others, all right? But we do charge for the services that we provide for large nonprofits who want to share information with Black folks, and to city government agencies that want to share information with Black folks. As long as we agree with the message, right? We're not going to put nothing out there that's going to hurt Black folks, right? But if it's something that Black folks need to know about, that we think Black folks, would be interested in knowing about, especially Black businesses, we will happily take your money to promote it, okay, on our pages. Now, but again, the services that we provide, the ability to market in our platforms, the free promotion that we do for your business once you get connected to our platform. We have a new program now called Search Sack Black Biz, which is searchsackblackbiz.com right now, which is a program where we're giving you open access to our complete database right now. You can just go in there and see every business that we have. I think there's probably about 1,000 in there now of Sacramento Black-owned businesses. So all of that is what Sack Black Biz is.
Excellent. And everybody listening, it's important because me and this brother have been locking in for a while.
Yep.
Whenever I need something, this is kind of my rule. Whenever I need something, plumber, lawyer, anything I need, any service I need, it's a rule I have. The first thing I do is go to Sack Black Biz. First thing I do is go there. Most of the time, I
That's
find
the
what I
best
want.
advertisement.
If
Clip
not,
that right there.
huh?
I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna clip that part and just advertise. That's the best advertisement I heard for us, yo. Thank you, bro. I really, really appreciate that.
And then if I don't see it, or sometimes I'm lazy, I don't feel like looking, I just hit Chris. Hey, you know,
Yeah.
I know several. Because you know what I mean? So you have to use your resources. And I mean, just give black people a chance, man. Every day,
Yeah, man.
I get it.
Yes.
We're moving so fast. We need to get something right away. We're used to going to the phone book or Googling friends. We're used to doing it a certain way. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go right there, look at the list, and when I hit somebody on there, they hit me right back, and never be like, "Oh, I'm out of business now." Or no, I ain't never no phone. No, they be ready to work,
Yeah.
professional. You know what I mean? So that's what it's all about, bro. So I appreciate your platform, brother. I'm saying I have to say
Appreciate
that.
you, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Shout out to the whole Psych Black Biz community. The everybody who's every business that's connected with everybody that showed support, like the post, share the post, did business with a business, talked about it to somebody. Thank you so much.
Now, speaking of business,
Yeah.
everything going on with the coronavirus and everything that's been going on for the past 2 years, like from what you've seen, for like a black business, what has been over this time period? What has been like the best way for black businesses to get help? If you're struggling with finances, or we see all these businesses shutting down, and sometimes because our businesses are smaller and stuff, we're like the first to go at times. So talk to me about what can black businesses do to kind of stay afloat during these times.
Yeah, well, definitely take advantage of all of the and some of them are not as good as they should be, but definitely take advantage of any and all of the business financing that's coming out of your city, out of your county, out of the state, and out of the federal government. So definitely take advantage of those. And if you want to know more about that stuff, I highly recommend you check out BSBA ca.org, or if you want to just Google Black Small Business Association of California. Okay, I definitely highly recommend you check them out, because that's a place, that's a hub for a lot of that information, and specifically trying to get it to black folks and black businesses. I've done a lot of work with that group, so that's definitely a place that I would recommend. But first, take advantage of any of the free money that's coming to you, okay, or that's there for you, and that should come to you. So some, and like I said, some of those programs weren't set up the best. I think they were written in a lot of ways to like exclude black businesses, but for those black businesses that could take advantage of it, and that could get ready to in time enough to take advantage of it, and that can still do it now, because there are still opportunities now to do it. For example, I think the California Relief Grant, by the way, if you're here in California, is still I think it's like in its sixth round of giving out money, okay, or seventh round of giving out money since I want to say maybe early this year. So take advantage of those programs, like absolutely. The second thing that black businesses, I think, want to do, and to like be able to support their business financially, around this time, is think creatively about how you can do things differently in your business and open up new ways to bring in new revenue streams to your business. So in your business model, there's a place called the revenue, part, right? Like how are you bringing in revenue, right? Like, and you maybe be bringing in revenue from one, direction, thinking about creative ways to actually bring in new revenue from new different directions for your business right now is going to be really, really important. So those are the two things I would say. Take advantage of all of the free money that's there, and think about ways to bring in more financial revenue. Different ways.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Last couple questions I got for you. Talk to everybody about ADOS. Now I know what it is. I've the people who started it and what's been going on, and people on the internet. Everybody take about it. So I'm familiar with all of this. But for people who may not know, what is
Yeah.
ADOS and
Yeah.
why did you start it?
Right. So, well, I definitely did.
Well, I
I
mean
cannot take
the
credit for
Sacramento
starting
branch. The
it.
Sacramento branch.
Yeah, yeah, right on, right on. So I did help build this Sacramento group, but yeah. So ADOS is an acronym for American Descendants of Slavery, and it was created by Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. out of so I think Yvette's out of Howard and Antonio's out of UCLA. They did YouTube shows, for years, talking about the need for Black folks to specifically make a claim for reparations, and so and for it to be specifically for those Black folks, the country, right? Black folks who, like us, right, whose moms and dads, and families built this country, right?
Mhm.
And so that's what the acronym stands for. There is an organization that I think Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell run right now. It's called the ADOS. I forget the name of the organization, but there is an organization with that name in it that they run. I am not a member of that organization. I'm not a part of that organization. The group that I helped start here in Sacramento was called Sacramento. That group actually disbanded in 2020 and reconstituted and regrouped as ARCC, which is the American Redress Coalition of California, and it is I was gonna say a bad word here, but it's a kick butt a group of amazing reparations fighters here in the Sacramento area and also in Oakland, California. We work out of the Bay Area, so we work both in Oakland and in Sacramento, and we are fighting for reparations here at the local level in California and also at the state level also. And that's where 90% of my reparations work is right now. It's with ARCC and together with a bunch of other groups around the state, probably 6-7 other different groups in different parts of the state. We work with folks in San Diego and LA and Inland Empire, San Bernardino County, elsewhere, Oakland, like I said, here in Sac, Elk Grove, etc. We have put together a statewide group called CJEC. It's the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, and that's where we do 100% of our reparations fighting. And we've been making some big news on that, and I know we can talk about that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so talk to me about, because I hear different opinions about reparations. Like when I first began to hear about it, I'm fully behind us getting money for the things that we've been through, right? But it shocked me because I would go online and I would see people that say, no, we shouldn't get reparations. Black people, we shouldn't get reparations. It's been too long. How they gonna do it? I'm thinking, what? All the money they just gave out for Corona. I mean, they printed a lot of money. All of a sudden, it seemed like for all this coronavirus shit. So what do you mean? Why or how? Like, why is that even a question whether or not we deserve money when these other folks have gotten reparations? So what's your honest opinion about, will we ever get it? Like, do you think we're eventually going to get some money, some land, something?
Yeah, well, one answer to that question is Thanks for. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about reparations because it's a big part of work I do outside of Black business work I do. So the answer is yes. I do believe we will receive reparations and achieve reparations. I believe we'll achieve it in our lifetime, actually, like mine and your lifetime. And so the stuff that what you're pointing to though is one of the challenges that we right now, and you're absolutely pointing to something that's real. We don't have enough support for reparations among the public right now to actually be able to have a better chance of achieving reparations, like for real. And a lot of that support that we don't have right now is still among Black folks, right? And this is something that it's not new, actually. If you read like some of the books about like some of the early reparations fights, like we have people fighting for reparations like who were like enslaved themselves, right? Like our people were fighting for reparations like before they were enslaved. I mean, before they were let use the term freed here, let go, and after. And if the most known example of that is Callie House, right, who was born into slavery herself. There's a book about her. It's called the book is by Mary Frances Berry. It's called My Face is Black is True. Right? It's a weird way to, kind of a weird way to, based on how we talk about words now, or like put words together. But and that's a book about her life, and she was born enslaved herself, and then started the ex-slave pension and benefits mutual association, and fought for pensions for herself and the brothers and sisters who were enslaved, with her. And even back then, if you read that book, there's reports of Black folks saying we don't want reparations, or we shouldn't be fighting for reparations. We should be focused on something else. You hear reports of, actually you hear, well, you hear a lot of the same arguments you hear from not just black folks, but a lot from white folks, right? It was so long ago. Okay, they were hearing that in the 1870s and 80s. White people were saying slavery was 10 years ago. Come on. Literally, they were saying that. Literally, wow. They were saying slavery was 10 years ago. Y'all got to pick yourself up by the bootstraps now, 10 years later. What y'all want us to do? You know, right? So we you know, we hear those arguments too. But yeah, so it's something that we hear, and it hasn't gone away, and it's something that we are fighting actively against. And one of the things, and that's why a lot of the work that I've been doing here in Sacramento and the Bay Area, and also, you know, statewide, is to make talking about reparations more common among black folks wherever you are on it, but just like make it more common to talk about. So like bring it up more. And right, you know, I help run Reparations News Hub. All Reparations News Hub does is find reparations news for you every week and then bring it in one place, right? So you go to right, so like that. So now you have just a place to go for reparations news, and there's news on reparations every other day, literally. Okay, there's about 15 different places in the United States where there's some sort of reparations work going on. Okay, literally about 15 different places. So, you know, part of what we got to do, and part of what I'm doing, is trying to fight this problem by making reparations more common, but also talking to black folks about what, like, some of those questions aren't bad. How are they gonna pay for it? How are we gonna figure out who owed? Right? Those aren't bad questions. Those questions you got to be ready to answer. Right? Like, you can't not have an answer for who's eligible if you talk, right? Like, right? Or like, like, you got to have some ideas about that. But also keep in mind, sometimes what you're hearing, I realize this too, is sometimes what we're hearing is not, it's like we're hearing black people like give up, right? It's like reparations ain't never gonna happen, man. Right? It's like we gave up, right? It's like and I'm not faulting black people for it. You're hearing like years and years of like losing fights and like battles and like taking beatings, right? And, you know, just, you know, having things happen to us and things not get better. You're hearing a lot of that come out, and like the hopelessness. And also you're hearing that black people don't trust the government too, which we shouldn't, right? So a lot of the resistance you're hearing is that too. And we got to realize when we're hearing that too, so we're not just like, oh man, you must be crazy. You know, now there's some black folks, you know, there's somebody running for governor right now who, you know, and by the way, I'm sure folks know there's a recall election going on for California governor right now, right? And you know, the last day to vote is September 14th, right? One of the candidates running for governor right now is somebody who is a black person who's openly 100% anti-reparations, right? And that's so there are black people who are like, just no matter what, I'm not going to support it because of my reasons. But we do have to realize what we're hearing when we're hearing black folks say some of this stuff. We should expect it. We should have good ideas and good energy. You know, for those of us who are fighting for this, like good energy in response, right? We're trying to bring people in, all right? Right. And we do got to hear and listen to people too, right? You said we don't have all the answers. So, but yeah, it is something that we come up against, and we got to be ready to fight it.
Definitely. Well, I had a great time speaking with you today, brother. I knew you would be able to, you know what I mean, drop a lot of information that our people need to hear. Like I said, I've been following you. We've been following each other for a while. I've been trying to get you on the show for a while. It was well worth it, just like I thought it would be, brother. You know what I mean? So do me a favor, Chris, and tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so find me, Chris Lodgson. I'm on Facebook. My last name is Lodgson. I haven't found anybody with that last name yet, except my pops. So you can't miss it. But it's at Sac Black Biz on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, at Sac Black Biz. Search sacblackbiz.com. That's search sacblackbiz.com also. And check out the work that we're doing around reparations. As most of y'all should know or will know right now, California started its own reparations task force. That's the remix reparations, right? So, all right, and the task force is really just starting to meet over months. It has another meeting on September 23rd and September 24th. So those meetings will be live streamed. We're going to be live streaming them on our media platform. I'm repping the brand here, the Black-owned brand ETM Media. So check out ETM Media Group on YouTube. We will be live streaming the next California Reparations Task Force meetings, September 23rd and September 24th. So check me out on ETM Media Group also. And also our statewide group that's fighting for reparations is at CJEC Official on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's cjecofficial.org, cjecofficial@gmail.com. So CJEC is where you find us, okay? And then ARCC, the American Redress Coalition in California. All these acronyms, right? It's like some military, right? All these acronyms. ARCC is our group here in the Northern California area. So check us out, and we are going to be at some events coming up in the next few weeks. Where we were at the Florence Square Sacramento Business Summit yesterday. Right there, Florence Square. We have probably dozens of Black-owned businesses come and get a whole day of technical assistance and workshops on different business stuff. So we've been canvassing at those events, talking about reparations there. We were at the Capitol the week before for the reparations rally. We're gonna be at the Broadway International Festival next week on Broadway. Probably at the R&B event in Old Sac next week, also Labor Day weekend. So check us out. We're also doing a bunch of stuff online. I'm plugging a lot of stuff, but let me just get through this last one. So we are right now. So those of you Black folks who are here in California, right? Part of what the reparations task force at the state level is going to be talking about at the next meeting is going to be talking about what we call the great migrations, right? So like the question, some are going to be around, how did you and your Black family, and why did y'all come to California? Like, how did y'all get here and why? And why did y'all come here? And for some of us who left California, right? Why did you leave California, right? Specifically Black folks. So if you have those kinds of stories that you want to share with the Reparations Task Force, they're taking your comments and testimony right now. Right now, you can email the task force. You can reach out to the task force right now. They have an official website. If you want to connect with them, just connect with us at CJEC Official or CJEC. We're also helping to collect those comments and those stories and share them with them also. So yeah, now is the time to seize the moment here, right? We have an opportunity to do something around reparations. So that's where you find me. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
No problem. So everybody listen. Everybody who has contacted me and don't know where to get information about our struggle and things that we're going through locally, I brought this brother on for a reason. He has a lot of great resources just concerning where we are as a people in Sacramento. We love entertainment. We love rappers. We love and hip hop. We love this is all a part of our culture, but get yourself some good news too. Like, make it a point to look into things that really matter about your society, really matter about Black folks. And I'm trying to get most of us as Black people in a position where we can enjoy. You can go to the strip club, then read a book the next day. Go to the reparations task force. Like, diversify who you are as a person. You don't have to cut one thing off for the other, but you got to care about us. I think it's too many of us that don't see the value in loving Black people and all the issues that we go through. So let's make it a point to love who we are and seek out the people who have this information. That's why I had the brother list the organizations he's with, where to find Black news. I knew I knew that was going to be a slam dunk. He's mentioned some great places to get some good information. Please do yourself a favor and look these places up. This is your boy Harrison. This has been another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. Like I said, like the show, subscribe to the Melanated Fathers TV YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, you'll find a few things. You'll find this show, the Melanated Convo podcast. You'll find news stories about different things going on in the community that I think is important. You'll also find the History Matters section where we talk about different people, places, and situations from history. This is my way of attacking some of the same issues he's talking about, right? So like we was talking about earlier, your thing may not be politics as much. It may not be history as much. Find your lane in our struggle and contribute. That's kind of the whole point. Put your time and energy into something that's going to help us. Our kids, a lot of us got kids. We ain't got kids. We got cousins, nieces, nephews. We got young people. Shit, that's going to have to be here when we gone. So the question should become, what did you do to help their life better? Not the money you gave them. That's good. You got life insurance. You've got a 401k. Congratulations. But what else did you do for the people in your community. That's why my show is so important to me, y'all. So this has been another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. My boy Chris Lodgson. We out.